good, what's poppin'? What's good, what's poppin'?
Yeah,
I said, all right, good, what's poppin'? What's good, what's poppin'? Stay with me, yeah, I said, good, what's poppin'? What's good, what's poppin'? Come on, and I said, what's good, what's poppin'? What's good, what's poppin'? Hey, listen, I'm reporting live from Iconic Saga Studios. I wouldn't be me if I don't present this week's 4th and 1 hot take without my dog.
What's good, bud? Yeah. Come on now.
Now, Peggy.
Yes.
It ain't just us, brother.
Mm-hmm.
There are not a lot of people that I really get excited to like have the opportunity to talk sports. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
In media, this is the difference between media and on field as an athlete. On field as an athlete, anybody that does not share your jersey color is what, Peggy? Competition.
Yeah. We oppose them. We the ops.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, the difference in media is if we're not talking about or we're not on the same platform, we're not on the same network, that don't mean that they're competition. They're our next collab.
Collaboration.
Rules the nation.
Come on, man.
And I'm excited because this particular person I've seen from afar have also learned so much indirectly from him. And I can honestly say I'm a fan. Peggy, who we got?
Well, our next fellow sportscaster, who is known for some of his hardest takes out there, sports podcaster and Mr. First Things First, straight from Kansas City, now to the Big Apple, none other than Mr. Nick Wright. How are you? Welcome to 4th and 1.
Nicholas!
Thank you, fellas. Long time coming.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. It's an honor. I have been a fan of Cam's from afar and we can get into that at some point later. We had a chance to catch up at the Super Bowl when he was incredibly, probably too kind to some of the words, but it's something you said there is very funny, which is in media, you don't have to look at it as competition. And here's the deal. That's because you got to actually compete. Those of us that didn't play sports at a high level, I look at a lot of these folks as competition. Now you're different. I like you, but this like I also don't I really feel like I'm competing with the athletes turned journalist or athletes because it's a different lane.
Right.
But I always joke that, anybody my age or younger that's doing what I'm doing is they could be a friend. They could be a dear friend, but deep down they're a rival. And I must vanquish them all. However, that's because I didn't get to play on the field. Vanquish, got no choice. I can root for everybody, but I gotta win. But thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. You know how much I respect your work, and it's an honor to be here. So thanks, fellas. And by the way, I don't know when people are watching this, but I'm taping this late at night, and so I'm drinking some wine with you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
People are always eager to hear what the name is. Since we used the V in Vanquish, I decided to say we're going and got the opportunity to talk to Nicholas Valdez.
Okay, Valdez.
Valdez, you like that?
Valdez.
Valdez.
Oh, that's fine.
You say, what you sipping on?
Ever since I grew my hair out, I have a little more. I'm sticking on some Italian Barolo. I don't have the exact label of it, but I'm just sipping on some Italian red wine.
Sorry, brother.
Drinking some wine, talking with y'all.
You sip, I smoke, and let's get on into the hot take. What's your topic, Ped?
So the hot take of the week is holding the media accountable. All right, just recently Rex Ryan pretty much ripped Shedeur Sanders on Get Up, and he kind of went in on him just about how Shedeur is with his take that he had in the media.
Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
And then also just with his attitude per se, or his frustrations, after Joe Flacco was pulled out the game and Dylan Gabriel was inserted into the game. And so, as we all know, the story of Shedeur, supposed to be first rounder, went fifth rounder, and it's been a lot of up and downs about who should be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And he is a fan favorite. This is the first time somebody that is clearly like sitting on the bench is leading in jersey sales with their team in the NFL at a certain time. So, Cam, Rex Ryan was pretty hard on Shedeur. What is your thoughts on that? Because a lot of stuff that he said, from him sitting in the back of the meeting room.
So this is what I would say about this. We've never seen in recent memory Nicholas Valdez, a person, not be a starter, not be second string, third string
QB,
a 5th round pick, have this much relevance this deep into the regular season.
Yeah.
So it's not even about, before we get to the point, we have to understand what the reality is.
Yeah.
When Shedeur does anything, it's always critiqued. What I don't like is you may not be able to relate to what he's doing or how he's doing it, but you can't control and make it be what you want it to be, because it's not that. When you hear Rex Ryan's remarks, these things are something that he's spewing without actually having facts to back it. And if you do have facts, Rex Ryan, you have to come forth with the source. The issue is, get your ass in the front row and study. As if to say,
He wasn't.
he's not already sitting in the front row, or that he's not studying. So that's one issue, but I'm not going to take up the time. Nick, what's your thought, bro?
So first thing that honest to God, and I'm not just saying because I'm on with you, but I think one of the things that caused Shedeur to fall in the draft, because, all right, let me back it up a little bit. I think the media probably evaluated him more clearly, more highly than a lot of teams did. A lot of teams did not look at him as a top 5 pick, a top 10 pick, even a first round pick. So once you're not that, then you're not being drafted definitively to be a starting quarterback. You're being drafted to either compete for a job or be a backup quarterback and a developmental quarterback.
Yeah.
Once that's the job that people are looking at you for, I, honest to God, Cam, think one of the things he dealt with was a cousin of what you said you dealt with. When you, and I don't want to misquote you, but you said something along the lines of like, hey, I have too big of an aura to be brought in if I'm not the guy. That if it's going, like, teams aren't going to want to have to deal with the media and the fanfare and the attention for someone who isn't the clear-cut starter. And I think that really hurt Shedeur. I think that teams were like, all right, if he's not going to be our starter, do we want to have to answer any questions about the backup? Do we want to have to deal with all of this? So I think that hurt him. I also think that the comment he said, where he said, you know, basically, I can play better than what's being out there in a lot of places. While I respect the confidence, and I think a lot of people feel that way, I think it showed a little bit of a lack of not self-awareness, but contextual awareness of, oh shit, you know who a lot of people think is playing quarterback the worst of anyone in the league? The starter on my team. So if I'm saying I'm better than a handful of these guys, am I implying or saying I'm better than Flacco, even though I don't think that's what he was trying to say? So I think that all of those things happened and hurt him. And I think I don't think he's navigated it poorly, but I don't think he's navigated it seamlessly. The Rex Ryan commentary, I think you hit on it exactly. If you're going to go on TV and say, because what he is saying there is he's not studying. He's not doing the work. He just better have been told that. Like, he better know that.
Right.
Because people assume, if you're talking about things that aren't on film, people assume it's because you have a source. You have inside info that this kid's lazy. And the book on Shedeur has never been, at least from what I've heard, that he doesn't do the work, that he's lazy. I think there's fair critiques about his game. I think there's fair understanding why he wasn't a first-round pick. But that struck me as a little out of left field and a little, I don't want to call it a cheap shot, but a bit of a cheap shot, unless, of course, he has someone telling him this. But then I wonder, if someone's telling you this, why? Why is someone in the Browns telling Rex Ryan this kid's not working?
Because, okay, so this is another quote from Rex Ryan. If I know it, the whole league knows it.
Correct.
So when you start
I
to
heard
say,
that,
like,
which
hold
was
on.
interesting.
When you're saying or referencing these things on Get Up, which is a national show that a lot of people get their information from, you're now giving the assumption, whether it's true or not, that this guy doesn't work hard, that this guy feels entitled, that this guy has been anything less than what he's supposed to be in order to compete. Correct. And this is the thing about Shedeur that I think a lot of people understand, but it has not properly been verbalized. Every time we've made the argument about Shedeur Sanders, it has always been because of what he is not. Or it's always been because of the assumption of what he's not. Oh, he didn't get drafted top 5 because he's been coached by his dad.
Yeah.
The assumption, hey, he's top 5 because he really was, or they didn't want the media frenzy behind it. Yeah. Or because he felt entitled, or because he told the Ravens, the Eagles, the Cleveland Browns that these reports, assumptions. Hey, he's not starting right now because he doesn't sit in the front. Hey, he doesn't start right now because he has arm soreness. Hey, he's not playing right now because it's the assumption of what he is not doing, rather than saying, hey, bro, nobody has stood and said, man, this kid, dog, is the first one out here. He does everything that he's asked to do. He's been delivering the ball at a high level. He's only had the opportunity to do these things, and he showed up damn well. And you know why you can't do that?
Why?
Listen, life's all about leveling up, whether I just handle business on the field or kicking back in my zone. That's why I like to celebrate with cigars that match the moment. That's why I linked up with Famous Cigars to bring you all this wild deal. Right now, you can get 8 premium cigars for just $8. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm talking about premium cigars. Oliva cigars. I'm talking about Davidoffs. I'm talking about Padrones. I'm talking about Romeo and Juliet's. Handpicked for my fans that's worth over $80. Hit up famouscigars.com/Cam and lock in this exclusive deal. While you're there, check out their insane selection of premium cigars. All shipped fresh and fast from their massive 20,000 square foot humidor. That's half a football field, y'all. Famous Cigars has been in the game since 1939 and still family owned. If you know me, you know family means everything. So celebrate every win with my friends at Famous. 8 cigars for $8. famouscigars.com/Cam.
I know me, I like to be comfortable, but I like to stand out too. So when I found out Chubbies had a whole NFL collection, I said say less. With these shorts and polos with your favorite team logos, that's how you step into the game day right. The fit is perfect. The stretch waistband on the originals is undefeated. And the designs go hard. I rock them at home, on the road, you name it. Chubbies is the ultimate football apparel brand. So much so, they created their own fantasy football league. George Kittle, Ian Rappaport, and others have come together to assemble Chubbies League of NFL Fantasy. Each week, the top 5 scorers will win a chance at Chubbies Polo Shorts combo with their team's logo. The grand champion gets a chance at the ultimate fan experience, a 5-city, 5-stadium NFL game tour with a +1. While the fantasy flop faces the hilarious, unforgettable punishment only Chubbies could pull off. Head to chubbyshorts.com/chubbiesleague to earn more and have some fun. Get ready for the most outrageous fantasy football season of your life. Now, would you look at that, folks? Our friends at Chubbies are giving our listeners $10 off with the promo code Cam Newton at chubbyshorts.com/Cam Newton. That's $10 off your order with the promo code Cam Newton. And that includes the NFL collection. Support our show and tell them we sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubbies.
Because if you give him any type of praise from any management person in Cleveland or even Kevin Stefanski, that automatically propels him and says, well, if he's this good,
Wow.
why is he not starting?
So it puts them in an awkward situation. That's what you're saying.
So if you give him praise,
yeah.
so therefore,
Well, hold on. Can I?
go ahead.
Let me finish your point. Then I got a question.
Because therefore, he's now positioned to have everybody scared. Like, why isn't he not playing? You're having an offense that is the dead last or the top 5 last offensive production teams in the NFL. Of course, you could do better than Joe Flacco. And we're not even saying propel Shedeur. But what about Dylan Gabriel? Yeah. Like, what's that deal?
You're not going to do worse by moving forward to the future.
What's your point?
But Nick? Don't see. So here's the thing. So I think there's a real chance that Dylan Gabriel starts this week. Mm-hmm. I think that they and if not this week, certainly the next week. I think that Gabriel, the offense has been so bad and the defense is legit that sure. if they had the 23rd best offense in the league, right, they'd be viable because the defense is that good. Here's where I haven't I think a lot of the media surrounding Shedeur in kind of both directions, some being overly optimistic and some being, in Rex's case, I think overly critical, has been a little out of whack. But here's what I think is true, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong. Shedeur's number one goal in training camp was, for me, beat out Gabriel. Mm-hmm. Be the guy who is the backup quarterback for when Joe Flacco is inevitably benched, which I felt because of his age and I just thought that was going to happen.
Correct.
And I thought Shedeur had a real opportunity to do that after that first preseason game when Gabriel couldn't play and Shedeur really played an excellent game.
Yeah, he did.
And then I thought the next 2 preseason games, he wasn't sharp. And Gabriel had a really nice moment. And he was the higher drafted player. And I think that was the moment. I think Shedeur, if you're the 5th round pick and the other kid's the 3rd round pick, you've got to kind of roll perfect to jump him on the depth chart. He didn't. And so now he's going to be 3rd in line. But don't you think the inevitable kind of sequence of events here is Flacco gets benched shortly. Gabriel gets a month of starts. I don't think he's ready. I don't know that Shedeur's ready either, but I think Shedeur is more natural, raw talent. And then Shedeur gets a half dozen starts at the end of the year, and we see how it comes out. I actually think that this is going to work out in a way where Shedeur gets a real shot at it. I just think he's going to be the 3rd man up at it, and the only way he won't get the real shot at it is if Gabriel balls out, which I think is going to be very, very hard to do.
You know what my issue is? And this is what I have observed. Observed, right? This is what I have observed. I don't think they want Shedeur Sanders to be successful in Cleveland.
Why so?
Who's they?
And you see
because if you were to say, I want Cleveland to have a person or a figure to have every chance to be successful, Shedeur has been the opposite of that. All the points that you've made, Nick, has been undeniable and has been true. What also has been true is this. When you give Shedeur an opportunity to play with viable options around him, what does he do?
Sure.
He performs. The next opportunity for him to perform the following week, he didn't help his case because he had arm
He was
soreness.
unavailable.
The following week, from there, if you want to see a real clear-cut identifier if he's capable or not,
With the one.
you put him with the ones, or you put him with the valuable twos. Don't put him with the trash. That's what he put him out there with.
they
How
got
many of those
fired.
guys are still on the roster?
Yeah.
So yes,
So I think that's fair, but I think we also have to acknowledge I can't say reality because I don't know that this is true. But what appears to be true is the coaching staff front office didn't want to be in the Shedeur business. They wanted Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel. That was their plan once they drafted Gabriel. And I think ownership saw this star from college is still available. We obviously don't have a surefire solution at quarterback. And the owner put his finger on the scale for Shedeur. And they draft in the 5th round. And so what I do think is, if you're Kevin Stefanski, I do think you want good quarterbacking, obviously. But in a perfect world, you'd rather it be the guy you went out on a limb for in Gabriel rather than the guy who, if I'm right, that the owner put his finger on the scales. But I also think, Cam, I just don't think it's as conspiratorial as a lot of people make it out to be, because I think, you know what happens a lot in training camp? Tell me if I'm wrong. A 3rd round pick gets preferential treatment of a 5th round pick.
No, for sure.
Like, they are going to give the higher drafted player a bigger opportunity and more of a margin of error because they have more of their reputation tied up in that. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think that's all that unreasonable. I'm not as like flabbergasted by the Shedeur stuff as I think other people, because I think it is as relatively simple as the moment that teams weren't willing to make the investment of, we are surefire developing him as our 1st round pick starter, then once he got in the backup quarterback world, man, a lot of the stuff that people love about Shedeur is not what you want in the backup quarterback. All the stuff that people are praising Jackson Dart about, his aura, his confidence, all of that shit doesn't play as a 3rd string guy. And so I think Shedeur does have like an it factor. I think he is tough as hell. I do believe in pedigree, and I do care that like he grew up around the game and he's prime son. I think that matters. And I think I'm talking to you about being a leader of men at quarterback. It's kind of dumb. I think part of the reason you were you is because you walked into a room. I remember my old co-host and friend Chris Carter telling me he saw you at a camp when you were in high school.
Facts.
And he was like, man, that guy walked in. He's like the Pied Piper. He's like, it didn't matter how many other alpha athletes they were there. They're like, that guy's fucking something else. And I think that, I think Shedeur has an element of that with no disrespect, I don't think Dylan Gabriel ever will. But I also think that if you're not the clear-cut starter leader of the team, that can almost work against you. It's like I would be, again, I'm not trying to compare myself to pro athlete, but I will. There are a lot of media jobs that are lower profile than the one I have that I would be terrible at. Like, I would be an awful, sidekick news guy. Like, hey, you're going to talk for 90 seconds an hour. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. And so, I think Shedeur has never been a backup. And so I think there are certain things about him, the way he carries himself, the way he talks, his confidence, that are not backup quarterbacky. And I think in this instance, it works against him a little bit.
I want to ask a quick question. That was perfect. And even just to go back to Rex for a second, even with Rex statements, if they're false or not, and I know that going out to the masses, how much merit does it really hold when the people inside of the organization really know what's going on, like where he's sitting, how he performs. Like for the people that just like on the outside is like, well, if this not the case and the coach know what Shedeur is doing, why does it matter?
Right. And that's what makes this situation so sticky, because we're talking about a third string quarterback here. We're talking about a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
I think the only reason, Nicholas Valdez, whether you want to agree with me or not, this is my conspiracy theory about the Cleveland Browns. Shedeur Sanders is extremely talented and well and capable of being a player in the NFL. That is facts.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But I do not think a lot of teams are willing to risk what's mounting in circus-like attention that he brings naturally. So therefore, the Cleveland Browns were stuck with this idea. If we cut Shedeur, that will be bad for business.
It wouldn't be relevant at all.
Bad for business. Business being he's good for business on our roster. If we cut him, he's going to be picked up by somebody. When have we ever had a person on our roster to move the needle? We have the most dynamic defensive player in the game today, and he is a person that is extremely meek. He's a person that does not scream to the top of his lungs. I don't even know what his sack celebration is.
No.
He goes to work, he shows up, he just sacks quarterbacks, wreak havoc, and get on out the way.
Yeah.
That's who Myles Garrett is.
Yeah.
Correct.
The Cleveland Browns have never had a player in modern day that pushes the needle like Shedeur Sanders. And I'm saying this with the additions of them saying, hey, what about Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield didn't push the needle like Shedeur Sanders. What about Johnny Manziel? Johnny possibly.
I would say Johnny.
But Johnny Manziel's distractions off the field, which always had people questioning like, yo, do you want to be a football player or a party?
Rock star.
A party guy, rock star. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So with these things, Shedeur Sanders has never given nobody no real ammunition. Okay, he answers the question with his arms folded. What is he supposed to be like? What do you want him in, a 3-piece suit?
Oh, well, that was, but listen, that was a cheap shot in my opinion. I think some of the Shedeur criticism, I think, has been either unintentionally unfair or intentionally unfair. Like when he had the thing with the radio guy, Tony Grossi, when he's like, hey, Tony, why you always got to say something bad about me? Mm-hmm. Every guy that's ever been in locker rooms, whether a player like you or me back when I used to go cover teams, knows if you are super critical of a guy, he might say to you, hey, man, what's the problem? Like, that's not unique. Like, that's the only thing that was unique about that was someone caught it on camera. I told this story before. Matt Castle, when I was doing radio in Kansas City, and I was pretty hard on Matt Castle, who's a super nice guy, he said to a different media guy right in front of me once, he's like, hey, you know him, pointing to me. And he's like, yeah. He's like, is he always such an asshole? Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's not abnormal for the player to be like, hey, is this guy, why are you like that? So people getting bent out of shape about that was ridiculous. Rex not liking his body language or folding his arms, I think that part's ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. But the question I have for you though, Cam, is this: do you not think he's gonna get a chance to start this year? And if he's good, then all this fixes itself? Because I don't think Dylan Gabriel is good enough to hold this starting job for a dozen weeks. And I think he's about to get it. I think Flacco's about to be put to the bench. And I think that then Gabriel will get it, and then they will have no choice but to let Shedeur have a shot.
Yeah.
I think Dylan Gabriel is extremely talented. I think Dylan Gabriel is capable of doing what Jared Goff has done to the Detroit Lions. But this is the thing that Jared Goff has that Dylan Gabriel does not have. He has assets around him.
5 All-Pros.
Of course.
Yeah, great players around him.
Right? Dylan Gabriel does not have that. So this is where you have to be realistic to the circumstance here. Because number one, it doesn't matter if it's Joe Flacco. It doesn't matter if it's Kenny Pickett. It doesn't matter if it's Deshaun Watson. It doesn't matter if it's Shedeur Sanders. It doesn't matter if it's Dylan Gabriel. If you do not have the pieces around, it's only but so much an individual can do, right? So for me, my issue with what Rex Ryan said, it's not even about Cleveland. I really think Shedeur Sanders has enough cachet and talent to have trade value for him to be picked up by another team. But when you say certain things like get into the front of the room and study and having this type, where are you getting those sources from?
And that's why.
And that's why it's so impactful for people to understand. You can't just regurgitate BS because it's impacting his value for other teams. And if it's true, say it's true. Don't say, if I know it, everybody in the league knows. Don't say certain things like that without backing it with merit.
So is it Cleveland's responsibility to come out and actually speak against these false accusations?
No, he's still a third string quarterback and a 5th round pick.
And nobody really understands how to really deal with this because it's like it's never been done before.
And to Coach Stefanski's point, or in his defense, why are we talking about a third string quarterback? You can't tell me
right. And this exact thing is why, honest to God, he wasn't, in my opinion, and we might disagree on this. I think he wasn't a 1st round pick because not enough teams valued the talent. Like they didn't value the talent the way I think you do, the way other people did. That's fine. But the reason he was a 5th round pick and not a 3rd round pick was this exactly what's happening right now.
The frenzy. Is
the fact that people don't even know how to pronounce Tyler Shook's name. Like, he's a 2nd round pick. Like but there is the Saints got 1,000 issues. None of them are people bothering them about when Shook's going to play over Rattler. Like, Kellen Moore's got other shit to deal with. And I think his level of celebrity really did, and the fact that these conversations exist for him and him only as a 5th round pick, as a 3rd stringer, it hurt him. Like, it legit hurt him, and I don't know what you do about that. Like, I don't know a workaround or a fix to it.
But I want to ask you this too, because like what you said, nobody's asking for the backup quarterback with the Saints. Do you think, and obviously everybody can have their own take to it, do you think that Cleveland is holding Shedeur? Because if he does go out there and flop, the stock of like this Shedeur hype goes down. Like the revenue, all of this buildup of like, we're waiting on Shedeur. It is financially, it makes sense for them to hold him and he be the finale to keep people active with the Browns for the rest of the year. But do you think that might be something why they might hold Shedeur over, obviously on the bench versus Gabriel? Because it's like when Shedeur comes out and if he flops, it's like who else is going to check for the Cleveland Browns? Like we're not looking for anybody else. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but that's almost setting him up for failure, which goes back to my point. They almost, to what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're basically saying the Browns, if Shedeur gets an opportunity to play and he flops, that kind of proves the Browns right.
Correct.
Which that is counterproductive, in my opinion, rather than saying, why do you want him to flop in the beginning?
Yeah.
Now, to your point, Nick, when I saw J.J. McCarthy go top 10, a 1st round pick, I said, Shedeur Sanders is better than J.J. McCarthy today. That's just my honest opinion. And I'm looking at around the league and it's like, okay, you're Cincinnati quarterback. Today, he could do better than that. You see what I'm saying? So I think his DNA does not know how to be a backup. And that's his curse, right? So when you're getting cursed for who you act. I've never sat on the bench. I remember when Matt Rule told me that Sam Darnold was starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the last game for me, and I was saying to myself and having dialogue on the side in the game, can I do this? Like, I've never not had any type of anxiety or excitement in my heart before the game starts.
Yeah.
When he told me that Sam Darnold was playing, I was chilling. I was like, yo, I want him to be the best player possible. But still, in my heart of hearts, I was like, yo, this is an unnatural feeling for me. Go ahead, Nick.
Bro, I'm not going to listen. I don't mean to be flippant or disrespectful, and I'm not just saying this because it's your show. Shedeur was a hell of a college player, and I do think he has some very unique traits. Shedeur Sanders ain't you, bro.
No.
Like, here's the thing. You like, yeah, you weren't, of course, it was shocking for you when near the end of your career, you weren't the surefire starter. Because you might have had the greatest season in college football history.
Right.
Your first game in the NFL, you threw for 400 yards. You went 15-1, you won a league MVP. Like, people can argue and do a whole recreation of history like I saw done a few months ago about who the hell Cam Newton, the football player, was. But you're a bad motherfucker from the age of, I imagine, 6 years old until at some point in your 30s. I don't know when whatever. Shedeur is not, to me, a can't-miss, no-doubt prospect. And if you're not that, you got to deal with some of this sometimes. Like, I don't think that's unfair. I don't think it is. So the point that I kind of made at the beginning was part of his draft prep, part of him, his practice, his training needs to be how to adjust and learn how to be a backup for the time being. Just like anybody who's not, honestly, a top 10 pick, much less not a first round pick, that's part of the skill set. And so, I don't blame you for having a problem with it, but, I thought it was totally fair. Before any of this happened, I was like, man, if Shedeur doesn't get picked by Pittsburgh, I think you can fall out the first round. Because I do think there are fair criticisms about how ready he is right now, this moment, despite the pedigree. And so, I don't know. I think it would appear to me, went through a lot of this process as if he were the prospect you were. And bro, he wasn't. And that's not being disrespectful. All the things people criticized him for anonymously after the fact, let's just assume they're all true about the draft process. It wouldn't have mattered if he was you coming out of school, but he wasn't.
Okay.
And so
let me chime in. Let me chime in real quick. Let's say what you're saying is true. He was not a Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence coming out of college. Right. Physically. Mm-hmm. But mentally he was. So
okay.
So
all right, I'll trust you on that.
So, but what I say mentally is, in order to be a starter in any capacity of sport, you have to have this aura about yourself. Whether we like the circumstance or not, whether his dad was coaching him since he was in rec ball, high school, college, or not. The fact is, mentally, he's that guy. So physically, he may not be 6'6", 250, running this, doing that, but mentally, he has played and started And therefore, that's something to be taken into consideration. Going back to the overall point of he doesn't know how to be a backup, nor should he conform himself. And I think sometimes he's getting penalized overly because on one hand, somebody's saying, why is he talking like that? And then on the other hand, somebody's saying, why is he even having a mic to speak in? But I would say as an observer, where I don't care if he plays or not, I'm here to call truth to what I deem is the truth. You can't name me a third string quarterback on no other team, on no other 31 teams in the NFL. So therefore, the fact that he's been able to dominate the NFL media circuit going into week 4 or week 5, it tells you everything you need to know about his star power. That's not to say he's talented. That's not to say, oh man, he's this. But to the person who hears him speak or have any type of antics, he has something where we call in media, he moves the needle. If he does
100%.
go off the deep end and say, man, boom, I think I'm this, I think I'm that, it's going to make ESPN, it's going to make Fox, FS1. These are facts. Another third string quarterback in the Steelers, if he were to say, hey, I think I'm better than Aaron Rodgers. What?
Yeah, they would cut the cameras off.
Yeah, all right, bro. He tripping. Shedeur Sanders says that. It's the Washington Post. And he don't even play in Washington. You see what I'm saying? So
yes, but I think the NFL, this is what I think's crazy. Because, and I'll bring it back to Rex. Because I did not like what Rex said. But here is what I think is reality. I think there are, in the decision makers in the NFL, I think there are a hell of a lot more that think like Rex than think like you or think
fair.
like me.
That's fair.
And so I think that non-starting, quarterback in the NFL is one of the only jobs in America where celebrity hurts you. I think in almost every other job, if you bring, it's like, hey, I can do this, I can do that, and by the way, I'm kind of famous. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I want to be your, I want to be your IT guy, but as it happens, I have 3 million TikTok followers. People are like, oh, that's cool, like, whatever, like, I don't know if that'll help us, but it's not a problem. I think one of the only jobs in America today where you get dinged for star power is backup quarterback. Because I think the NFL is a little old school, and it's like everything's a distraction. Everything is, you know what I mean?
Who does he
just
think
like, hey,
he
we
is?
don't want to deal with it.
Correct.
And they're right. And so, and that's the other piece of it, that there is, and this is a whole nother podcast, wherever, but there is, with everything in life, certainly everything in America, and certainly everything in sports in America, there is either a stated or an unstated racial component that again, a racial component doesn't mean there's racist actors involved. It just means there's a racial component. And there is an element of, like, what is one guy's aura is another guy's arrogance. And who gets it to be aura and who gets it to be arrogance is in the eye of the beholder. And, like, I think there is, like, a piece of that here. I don't think it's the overwhelming piece, but I think there's, of course, a piece of that. So it's a big mismatch of stuff. The bright side is, I think Cleveland is so dysfunctional that they're going to play 3 quarterbacks this year anyway, whether they wanted to or not. So I think he's going to at some point get the opportunity to go out there and play.
Yeah.
So to that, and I know we're strapped for time, but whether you're a fan,
I got time, bro. You're fine.
Say less. Whether you're a fan or you're not a fan of Shedeur or somewhere in between, that aura versus arrogance is a real thing. And
Yeah.
when you are a fan of the person, let's say you're a fan of Shedeur, you praise him for doing this. if you're not a fan of Shedeur, or somewhere in between of being the old school, hardworking citizen that's just by the book. And oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that quote that Tom Brady said was fluff and BS. There's times where Tom Brady had spiked the ball, got everybody riled up on a solo act, and people loved it. And I loved it too. Every time Tom Brady celebrated, it wasn't always with his linemen. Yeah. And there's times where you may not have to, bring, hey, spike the ball, lineman. Hey, let's chest bump receivers. That's what makes you great. So my argument is, whether you like it or don't like it, have the open-mindedness to really evaluate and say, hey, is he doing anything wrong here?
Yeah.
And what has he done to make me think that he's not capable? It's what people have assumed.
Yeah.
And to Rex Ryan or others who state certain sources, I'm always scratching my head because I was like, hold on. Who said this? Because I was a victim of this. Mm-hmm. And that's where I can relate. And I will reiterate again, whether Shedeur Sanders plays in Cleveland or not, I relate to him being a victim of his own power. He's like, bro, you can't bring me down. It's in his pedigree. His doggone dad told people on draft night that a team couldn't afford him because the bank would have bounced for as much as money that he would have asked them.
Yeah.
That was celebrated. But now when Shedeur has it in his mentality to say, hey, man, I don't want to necessarily be a distraction. Why are y'all asking me these questions? I haven't played it down yet.
Right.
But since that, I have to do my league mandatory obligations to answer your questions. It goes viral. Did I tweet anything?
Yeah, I didn't you put the camera in front of my face.
And you will keep doing it.
it.
And that's what people need to understand. It's not like Shedeur is saying, hey, talk about me.
Yeah. He didn't go out his way to jump on a podcast. And that leads me to like, is it even a such thing as backup etiquette? Like, and it's just like when you say, his aura doesn't give off backup, but it's like sooner or later.
I don't know that there should be, but there very clearly is. Like there is very clearly like, man, I feel like this is where I think it is precisely what you dealt with. I think there are a few other instances of guys where I think the general consensus has been he would help our football team, but we don't want to, not enough to deal with all of the other attention. Like, and again, I think there wasn't a time where, honest to God, and I'm not comparing you or Shedeur, these three very disparate talents, but I think Tebow dealt with that. Where it's like, hey, would it be interesting? Like, could we, if there were, this is a dumb hypothetical, but just follow me. If there were a pandemic 10 years ago, and because of it, there was no media in locker rooms ever. There was no media, and in fact, because of the pandemic, there were no even sports talk or radio shows. It was just playing football. Do I think there would have been a bunch of teams that like, one of our 53 roster spots for this Tebow guy, and to try him out as like this weird H-back tight end trick play,
let's
short
just try
yardage,
it.
something.
Yeah.
Let's just try it. We got 53 of these fucking spots. Like, let's put him on there and see if we can figure out a way to do it. But I think it was teams were like, yeah, but no. He's got too many fans. He's too famous, and it'd be too much of a pain in the ass. I don't know if you know this, Cam, but for 3 years after once you stopped playing, every year campaigned publicly and privately for the Chiefs to sign you. Because I'm like, listen, the only thing Cam doesn't have is a ring. The Chiefs are terrified to let Patrick do anything in short yardage. And because Patrick is already Patrick, you don't have to worry that there's going to be this whole like media firestorm. Like, hey, why isn't Cam
He's
the
already
starter?
he's already
like,
solidified.
He's solidified, and I was like, he would be super like you. The only reason not to bring in Cam Newton, you know, once you were done being a full-time starter, was people didn't want to deal with the noise. Right. Like you had to have not only a fully solidified quarterback, but a very confident quarterback. Correct. You know what I mean? Like a guy that wasn't going to look over his shoulder. Right. And the noise though wasn't by you. It wasn't like, oh, Cam's going to talk a bunch of shit. It was that he was just going to bring attention. And that is, I think, that oddly what Shedeur's dealing with, which is why I don't look at his comment of I'm better than a lot of what's out there as some big transgression. I do look at it in a similar vein that I looked at the bad preseason game he played.
But
when you're a fifth-round pick, you got to kind of be perfect.
Yeah.
Say it again?
I said, but understand the circumstances with that bad game. He was around bad players.
Oh, I know. He was.
Yes.
Of course. No. I get that. But my point is this. Like, you have to basically bowl a perfect game. You have to, like, overcome. You can't give the even mediocre quote because the odds are stacked against you. I don't think that's unfair. I think it's unfortunate. Yeah. Because he's not creating the noise. He's not asking at this point for the attention. He's not like trying to, raise his profile, but his profile's already so big it's there.
Yeah. So even to that, I would say, and this is my last thing, it's like Shedeur has now inserted him. He's always been in this category where people, fan or not, or like I say, in between, they want to be able to say, hey, young man, be humble. And that right there is something that a lot of people who may not know or even like him can't wait to say, aha, be humble. And it happened to me. And that's why it's so personal, because when I was out of the game, it even took a person who I look up to in Shannon Sharp to say, hey, Cam, you're one of those randoms. He said that. I respect him and his voice. But this is the thing. When I was humble enough to come out and say, I would be willing to back up these particular people. Yeah. It still wasn't enough. See, that's where we are with Shedeur. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because people want to be able to say, hey, humble yourself. And when you do it, it still is not enough because they don't like you, will not like you, or don't even care to get to know you. And that's unfortunate, as you said. Nicholas Valdez.
So that.
Go ahead.
Listen, man. That last thing I should have let you just close on that, but that thing right there is the realest thing that was said. I think this whole hour. And that is a deeper kind of darker conversation of why there are people really invested in proud, successful folks being humbled. And that is and I do agree with you that there is a cottage industry of, I'll tell one quick little anecdote and then I'll let you close your show. I used to cover the Chiefs. I used to go out to training camp, right? And they still do it. It's in St. Joseph, Missouri, at Missouri Western, right? And fans could go out there. And those Chiefs teams were bad, bro. Like bad teams. And somehow we got the number, and this guy he ended up being a good player for us for a decade, but somehow I think the year in between you going number one and Luck going number one, we got the number one pick, and it was Eric Fisher. God love him, but we kind of missed our little window there. Yeah. But neither here nor there. Fans would go out to training camp, and nothing, not a 50-yard touchdown pass, not an amazing interception, nothing got a cheer from the fans. These are the folks that are spending their time to watch a bad team practice. Like when the coach flipped out and made the players run. Like, God, dog it, get on the line, run. People were like, yeah! Like there was a weird, almost like, you show them, coach. Like, and this is they're rooting for this team. In theory, they want this team to be good. But there is something in them that wanted to see, wanted to see like the big famous athlete be told like, hey, like they did when they were in high school. And I do think there is an element of it's, whether it's known or not, jealousy of folks that carry themselves with supreme confidence, that are very successful, that are often, good looking, out this or that, where it's like, no, I want you knocked down a rung or two.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, an unfortunate reality. But, is what it is. I appreciate you, bro.
Cheers. But I would say this, man. Man, Nick, appreciate your time, bro.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about something so important, like so timely, and I was intrigued to know your take, but I don't want to step over this topic. But the thing about it is, I've never heard a teammate speak bad about Shedeur. I've never heard a coach come out these are individuals that actually have the inside scoop and say, man, let me tell you something about Shedeur, bro. Bro, Shedeur is really an asshole. Mm-hmm. You never heard that.
Yeah.
When you talk about Cam Newton, you can't find a teammate in high school, in rec ball, in junior college, in the NFL, New England or Carolina, that can say with a straight face, Cam Newton was a terrible person. And that alone is why I can, man, you keep wearing them goofy hats, or it's like, bro, you don't know me. Mm-hmm. And the sources that do come out, you didn't jump on you don't know me. The people who were around me on a day-to-day basis, the coaches, the GMs, the players, the scout team players, the equipment guys, the trainers, the even the media personnel, they knew.
Yeah.
And that's what gives me comfort with these type of debates and discussions, because if I were to talk to Rex, if I were to even talk to Shedeur, it's like, bro, keep the main thing. But don't throw fluff that can inevitably hurt his potential. Not valuable for one team, it can still be valuable for another one.
Yeah.
And that's all we got, Peggy.
All right. Nick, thank you so much for coming in for 4th and 1. We appreciate you. We have to have you back sometime this season.
Appreciate you, Nicholas.
No, I would love to. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'd love to come back on. Can I say one last thing before we go?
Rock and roll.
Unrelated. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Only because I watch the show. I obviously watch, I consume the stuff you do. I have respect for you. And also maybe because I've had a glass and a half of wine, I feel comfortable saying this. As someone who, before we ever knew each other, was a lifelong fan of Cam the player. And my buddy used to make fun of me because I bet sports. And I gamble. I'm a semi-professional poker player and big gambler, and he used to make fun of me because every week he'd text me. He's like, what lines do you like? Aside from Carolina, I know you're betting on Cam. Like, I was like, I think they're undervalued. You keep referencing, or you've referenced a number of times, the not jumping on the fumble. I think that is something that you have a disproportionate belief of how much people actually think about that when they think about Cam Newton, the fucking football player. And it kills me as a fan to get the feeling that that is still a thing that sits with you because people made me mess with you about it online or in person. I don't know. Anybody that watched the NFL for a decade looked at you as one of the toughest people alive. And the idea that there is this weird, like, oh, this was a sign of weakness, it's such bullshit. And it is such a total cop-out for people trying to take a cheap shot. So that is, from me to you as a fan, not as like a media colleague, but as a fan.
Right.
Like, hey, man, you play 100,000 snaps in a cauldron, you're going to have some moments you want back. But don't, like, you've referenced that a few times. It's like, oh, Cam, you didn't jump on the phone. Man, fuck that. If people know who you were and who you are. And, like, whatever, bro. Like, sorry if I rambled there. Sorry if I kind of put the conversation in a weird spot. But I don't know when I'm going to talk to you again. And I want to tell you that.
No, man, thank you, Nick, for saying that, bro. It's just a point of reference that people can, that they understand, right? And I use that in a way where that's going to be something that I teach my kids one day. That moment of hesitation is all you need for you to be able to say, dang, I should have. And I just had an intriguing conversation on another platform of mine, a Funky Friday. And, Mr. Wilson perfectly said it. That moment right there can be a realization of how people look at life. Man, should I take the job opportunity? Nah. Okay, I want to take it. It's gone. You see what I'm saying? Hey, I want to do this. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, just imagine a moment of hesitation in the military. That may cost you your life, bro. Mm-hmm. And I hate to get that dark, but those moments of hesitation is a example that I appreciate God for giving me that platform to be able to be exposed, to shine light on a different way of looking at it and how it can resonate to today. So, yeah, bro. Appreciate you, Nicholas Valdez.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you guys soon.
All right,
yes,
now.
Sir.
Appreciate you.
Let's take a quick break to go over our week 4 picks with Prize Picks. It's good to be right. You went 1-1. All right? You broke even. Okay, so Baker Mayfield was projected to have 232.5 passing yards. You said less, and you took the L there. He had 289 passing yards with the loss against the Philadelphia Eagles.
I can explain myself, Peggy. I need to explain myself.
All right, we'll go for it.
Not taking into consideration that they had to throw the football to get back in the game. Mm-hmm. And that's what led to the abundance of yards.
It did. It was coming from
but it is what it is. I'm good with that. What's my next one?
And Joe Flacco was projected to have 232.5 passing yards. And you said yes. And you went for the dub right there. He had 184 passing yards with the loss against the Detroit Lions.
But Peggy, you on the other hand, you went undefeated, my brother. 2-0. First pick, Saquon Barkley projected to have 13.5 receiving yards. You said more? Survey says you were correct.
Yes.
You had Jordan Love projecting to have 233.5 passing yards. You said more. Survey says that also was correct.
Yes.
337. What I'm seeing in Dallas isn't the lack of talent.
Yeah.
It's a lack of communication and execution. And even early on in the Packers-Dallas game, I'm saying to myself, they're blowing coverages. Mm-hmm. And is that players' fault or is that coach's execution fault?
Well, Cam, the NFL season is heating up and there's no better time to get in the action. And how do you get in that action? Tap in with Prize Picks using the promo code 4th and 1. 4th and 1. Use that promo code and lock in that special offer. Stay locked in with us for the Week 5 picks with Prize Picks. It's good to be right on our full show tomorrow.
I don't like that, Peggy. You got to give it some.
Say what now?
I don't like that, Peggy. You got to give it some.
I said Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
All right, Peggy. We came, we saw, we conquered, man. Anything else, we had the opportunity to talk to our good fellow friend, Nicholas Valdez. Right. Came through tripping. You know what I'm saying?
Came through sipping.
came through sipping. Sip. Like where you at, Peggy?
Marolo.
Marlon. You feel me? That's where things here. 4th and 1 finger. Hey, I said one finger. Whoa. Okay, add in the pinky. Don't forget the thumb. All together, one love. You dig?
And it's a wrap.